Hey, growth-minded attorney. Before I bring you to today's amazing content, I want to remind you that we're in the fourth quarter, which means that we're offering a free marketing analysis and a free marketing plan that's going to help you take your law firm to the next level. Now, this plan is all about digital marketing. What are you doing online to ensure your success? How do you show up online in terms of compared to your competitors? How can we fix that so that way you can actually go above your competitors and reach your goals? What are your goals? Are you looking to take on another associate? Are you looking to maybe get another location? Are you looking to grow your partners? Whatever those goals are, this marketing plan and analysis is going to bring you closer to those goals and set you up for success for the next year. So take advantage of that right now. Just head on over to my website, lbmsllc.com. Hit the free report button on the top right-hand corner if you're on a desktop, or type right-hand corner even if you're on a mobile. And that will initiate the process. Once you do that, you will get the report, and you will sit down with one of my marketing gurus that's going to go over the plan with you and let you know how to execute that, so that way you meet your goal. So with that, I'm going to bring you into today's content. Enjoy. Take care. Hey guys, this is huge debate in the online marketing world that it's all about, is paid advertising necessary, or is organic advertising better than paid advertising? All of these discussions happen online. I'm not sure if you're aware of it or not, but either way, I have brought in a guest today that we're going to battle through. We're going to fight through this because I'm a huge advocate of paid advertising, as you know, and she's a huge advocate of organic advertising. And when she says organic, she's not talking about just SEO. I'm going to bring on this repeat guest that she's going to enlighten us on her process of how she can help attorneys get organic reach. So without further ado, enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are looking to substantially increase your caseload in the next 6 months, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy. Welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. I'm super excited today because I have a repeat visitor to the show. And we're going to duke it out a little bit. We're going to put the gloves on, maybe even take the gloves off. But we'll definitely have the gloves off in the beginning because we're going to duke out the age-old question: organic versus paid advertising. And there's no other better person to discuss that with than the great Kat Stanzik. How's it going, Kat?
Good. How are you? Now you're going to be known for hitting women.
Oh, scratch that.
There's a lawyer out there for that.
re-record. All right, Kat. It's been a while. I mean, not for me because we talk very often, but it's been a while since you've been on the show. So just remind everyone who basically the new listeners since you was on here last, and the people who continue listening to us, remind us, who are you and what do you do?
So basically at a high level, I help people make more money online. How I do that is by helping people leverage firework experiences that basically spark more sales conversations and fill people's pipeline without all the hustle, the grind, and really helping those CEOs and executives stand in their seat or sit in their seat, without requiring all of their time. So Basically, I'm a marketing and strategist, and I really want to help people find those ways of generating more revenue without requiring, all of that brain power that a lot of bro marketers are out there trying to say that you need to have.
Bro marketers, what's that?
So
educate us, please.
Right. So let me lay it down here real quick. So if you've ever had that high pressure sales shake you down, leaving you feeling less than 64-step funnel kind of approach, then you've met a bro marketer. Most people don't like to sell that way, and most people don't like to be sold that way. So this is really about the empowered decision to buy. What I say is that I don't want resentful yeses, because the resentful yeses ask for refunds. What I want is a resounding yes, because those are the kinds of clients that are going to get results. So imagine having people already ready to buy when you get on the phone. That is absolutely possible. And there's some things that you can strategically put in place to help make that happen more often.
Now, bro marketers, is that a Kat Stanzik term, or is that a term that's out in the industry?
It is out in the industry, but it is interesting to see how many people still are not quite familiar with that term. But usually when you hear bro marketer, you kind of know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's a little bit, it's a lot toxic. And I find that more people, when they find those marketing strategies that are, and I'm going to say it, in alignment, meaning that they leverage your strengths. This isn't about forcing you into a strategy. It's kind of like wearing clothes that are too tight. It's not comfortable. Yeah, maybe you might be able to fit into it, but at the end of the day, you're going to have those, marks all over your body. What it is about is finding something that works for you and that your ideal clients will respond to, because both of those are the key components. So most people pick a strategy and then they try to make their ideal clients respond, or they try to make themselves like it. But if we focus on those two aspects first and then pick a strategy, what we find is that we narrow down all of the different, available strategies. And right now I have 21 that I've identified as unique marketing strategies. We can whittle that down to 2 or 3 that are really going to be powerful for you. And, the super scientific approach of, if you enjoy doing it, then the likelihood is that you will. And so if we find those lead generation strategies that you really love, and that we can start systematizing and creating processes around so that they're delegated to somebody else, then that's how we create that consistency in revenue.
Cool beans. Now, Kat, you and I are both marketers. You and I, we love the marketing game. Not to call it a game, but let's just call it a game for now.
Hey, we can have fun, right?
We love it. We both love it. However, we have a fundamental disagreement that we've had ever since we've known each other, and which is
you like to set it up like we're fighting, and I always say that I love what you do.
Yeah, no. I'm just having some fun. But I want to articulate. I want to share. I want to put it out in the air of what our differences are in terms of marketing. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, as you know,
Lord.
And the way. To skin a cat, no pun intended. So let's first talk about your way of skinning a cat. So since this is a show about attorneys, and about marketing for attorneys, I want you to walk me through the Kat Stanzik process of how an attorney can benefit from using your services.
The firework experience approach. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, SEO for attorneys is fantastic, right? There's a lot of industries that benefit from SEO, and there's other industries that don't benefit as much, right? Just like everything, certain strategies work better for certain industries or certain people than other ones. So it's important to take that into consideration. SEO is fantastic, especially when you're geo-specific and things along those lines. And
by the way, ways. Kat, that is the one thing that you and I agree on, because I'm an SEO. I love SEO. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, no, and paid ads and pay-per-click and all this other stuff are all valid strategies. So I do have to do the caveat of, there is no strategy that is dead. There is no strategy that doesn't work. It's just, will it work for you and your industry, right?
You see, she's just being nice because you guys are listening, but before we were off camera, she was fighting. I'm just joking.
You're like,
Go ahead,
you
I'm sorry.
suck. What do you do? No, if you're considering SEO and pay-per-click and marketing from that lens, like definitely, I mean, I hugely advocate for Frank on that. Someone who's in full integrity and alignment with getting his clients results. You cannot get any better. And when we're looking at how can lawyers take that strategy and continue to level up, right? It's kind of like, it's the concept of two together makes something even stronger. So organic and paid feed each other very, very nicely. And if you don't have one working, then it can often leave this big revenue gap, if you will. So how the organic side complements the paid ad side is that we want to actually look at what will it take to fill the pipeline. It's not just the people who are ready right now. So, roughly 3% of people, if we're looking at the population, have made the decision, let's use a divorce attorney, for example, to get that divorce. And they're online. I need a divorce attorney in New Jersey, right? In this zip code kind of thing. And of course, with Frank's help, you're showing up number one on that list of that, long tail keyword search or whatever it is. However, there are people who are considering divorce, people who haven't made that decision, who may or may not get there. So what are you providing in terms of content, in terms of resources that allow to create what I call like a holding pond, right? So most bro marketers create a chokehold. If you're not ready to buy right now, then if you don't buy, then you're a loser. Right. So you're either in or you're out. However, there's 97% of the population that is making a decision. And so if we can get information in front of them, if they can experience you and how your law offices are different than the other Joe Schmo down the street, which you are, but for whatever reason, they seem to be more successful, right? If we can get that experience, then that's what actually shortens the sales cycle. And that's what's going to get someone buying faster. But they can't have that experience if we're just checking the general marketing boxes. And what I mean is that there's a lot of good marketers out there. If you've ever opted in for something and got it in your inbox, you have been part of the marketing process. Now, the problem is that most times when you've gotten that thing in your inbox, it's usually a hot piece of garbage. And so what's happened is that person strategically checked the marketing boxes. They had an opt-in page. It converted because they got your email. They delivered the product, but they missed the biggest box, which is your experience of the product, of the content, right? Of the thing. And because they didn't think strategically about that experience, they've lost the sale. So they may have spent all this money on SEO. They may have spent all this money on building out content and doing social media and doing all these other things. They did the right things, but because they missed that box, they've wasted their time, energy, and effort. And I'm hugely against that. Like I hate wasting time, energy, and effort. It grates my nerves like nothing else. So we want to create a community. And it's very interesting because lawyers don't typically think of themselves as building community. But they do, because part of what happens is when you build that community, it's how you turn one client into a referral source that can generate at least 5 leads. So just so you know, that, I mean, as you know, I do deal with a lot of lawyers. So the way they build community typically is with other lawyers. Right.
So they'll
doing
get
those power partnerships.
Yeah.
Of, hey, I'm a divorce attorney. Law, you're a estate planner. You're a, the real estate closing office,
Correct.
Things like that. Yeah. But what if you could turn your clients into lead sources? What if you could activate that? What if you could turn, and it's looking at all the different ways. So can that person, and there's other things too, because different lawyers do different approaches in terms of strategy. Can that client connect you to another lawyer? Can that client connect you to a speaking opportunity, right? Can that person who isn't ready to buy from you also do the same, right? So it's about looking at more of the opportunity that an individual can provide you beyond just this next sale and building out the pipeline in that way. Because when we diversify our lead generation strategies, we're also diversifying our revenue streams.
Love it. Love the energy. I hope you guys felt it. Kat stands it. bringing it to us live and in Technicolor. Anyway, so that's great. That's great. So, but let me ask you something. I mean, there was a couple of things you said there that's quite interesting to me. You talked about funnels. You talked about, building that interest, and building community, which is really what I want to dive into. So you're saying, so a person comes in via SEO, pay-per-click, or referral.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about building a community of clients that then they themselves become referral sources to the attorney. Talk a little bit about that. How does one go about doing it?
So, I mean, to be direct, like it's leveraging the strategies that I've created. So it's firework experiences. So a lot of people are out there.
Firework experiences. You've got the best sayings, Kat. I like that. I miss hanging out with you.
Right. So if you're getting a referral, let's say from a lawyer, right? I don't want lawyer to lawyer. That's more like sparklers. Yeah, you're playing together. You kind of have your own sparkler and we, right? Like, but it fizzles out pretty fast and it's not consistent. It's not predictable. You don't know when that next referral might or might not come through and whether or not that person's going to be able to buy. Right. However, if we start adding more gunpowder, we start looking at the expanding it, right, if you will. What we can do is, yes, that's great. You've got referrals and we want to activate the people around us. And part of what we've done when we're in this space is we haven't allowed people to do this. And part of the allowing means educating them, providing them the information they need, but also giving them the experience of what it would look like to work with you. That experience, how many times has someone made a decision based off of, I like this person more than the other person?
Yeah.
And irregardless of fee, whether you were charging $550 or, $650, right? There's not that huge difference, or whether you were charging $300, it doesn't matter. It was more about, I feel like this person's going to get the results that I need. I like this person more. I feel this person understands me, that they trust me, that they like me, right? So looking at what can give that experience to someone, what we want to do is essentially deposit into their bank account with the kind of content that we're putting out there by helping them do these quick wins. So what a lot of people don't think about with their marketing, and I've seen expert marketers not think about this, and this is a piece that most people are missing, which is when we market, we actually want to solve a problem that makes that person a better buyer. So I'm going to say that again. Your marketing should solve a problem for them that makes them a better buyer. And what that means is because they've solved a certain problem with you, now they see you as the next logical step. It is why a lot of lawyers offer that initial free consultation, because that person feels like they've solved a problem. And obviously they're going to need your expert help, but those calls are not scalable. You can only have so many calls a day. So how do you take that approach, that essence, and create a scaled experience of it? And that's what I'm talking about. That's that community building. And once that person has that experience, they can't help but bring other people in. So your clients, your connections, your lawyer referral partners are now doing your lead generation for you for free.
Yep.
Because you've deposited into their bank accounts with that value.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I was just having fun with you in the, in the beginning, because I mean, I'm still a paid ads guy, but that I think is really sexy. It's super sexy to do that, and how it happens organically is amazing. So, I mean,
but you have to be intentional, right? That's the whole thing. And that's where, that's where we both live and love is in the strategy of it. Right. Which is not everything, you don't have a single thing of copy that you just copy and paste and use for every single lawyer. You have these different strategies. You pick the right one for the right person, and then you modify it. So it's kind of like taking a piece of clothing off the rack, and then you customize it to the person. It is a basic strategy. It's going to be too big or whatever it is, but then we couture it so that it accentuates the right things on the person. And yes, we're still talking about leads. So making sure,
Just to be clear.
just to be clear, we haven't changed the topic of this podcast. That's what we're looking at, but that's what becomes attractive. So really showcasing those strengths, because it is about more leads. It is about more referral business and more return business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really looking at amplifying those, because we all know that it's infinitely easier to resell a client. But what's the system and the process? It's not just pick up the phone and be like, you ready to buy now? I mean, that activates so much sleaze in sales, and no one likes to be treated like a transaction.
Yeah.
So figuring out how to have that consistency of top of mind experience without the yuck factor, if you will.
Let me ask you a question. So as you know, most attorneys are very busy. They're in court, they're preparing documents for their clients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
How much time does this thing take? Because, the paid ad takes them nothing to just get them to pick up the phone. Someone calls them, boom, they got a lead. How much time does this take?
I'm not going to lie and say that it takes no time. But part of it is what's the lifetime value of a client? Is that worth an hour a day? Is that worth half an hour a day of your time to build this, to have other people? Because we're looking at what's scalable. Part of this too is my process is very focused on documentation, because we can't delegate something effectively, especially when it comes to organic, if we don't have what success looks like measured. And so all of this is absolutely delegatable, right? And you can have very little involvement. I have a client right now whose involvement is 1 hour a month. That's it. It's completely what I call insert your name less, right? So if your name is Tom, it's Tomless. If your name is Bob, it's Bobless. If it's Sue, it's Sueless. So it's kind of the less approach, which is how can you activate your team and the people on the team to do the implementation, and where you just show up where you need to be in the spotlight.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello there, listeners. If you're an attorney and you would love to be a guest on the show so you can promote your services to people that listen to the show and beyond, give us a call at 888-416-7752 or send us an email at podcast@lbmsllc.com. One of my associates in the podcasting team will send you an email and connect with you, schedule some time, send you the podcast intake form, and schedule you to be interviewed on the show. So if that's something that you really would want to do, go ahead and take one of those actions, and we'll take it from there. So until then, enjoy the rest of the show. And this is a proprietary thing, right? This is a Kat Stanzik developed process.
Yes. Time tested and bro marketer experienced. I mean, that's how that came about. Was I didn't appreciate this hustle and grind and door-to-door knocking approach that just left me depleted. And so I wanted to leverage my time more. I don't have it. So one resource we're all running out of. So there is a lot of sensitivity around how much time goes into it. Now, if you're a solo lawyer, right, and you don't have team, it's going to take you more time. If you've got, partners and you've got resources in terms of team members and admins, absolutely delegatable, and where you showcase and show up in whatever piece you want. But at the end of the day, it all requires work. It's who's going to do it.
Yep. And, guys, I can actually vouch for Kat because I've known Kat, I'd say 8 years now, something like that.
At least, yeah.
And in 8 years, I've never seen one ad come from this woman, yet she kills it every year. So kudos to Kat. So she's eating her own dog food, if you will, and she can teach you. I'm sorry. Yeah, she's eating her own cat food. Meow, meow. Cool. No, that's awesome. I it was funny when I first met you and you were talking about the thing. I was not a believer until I actually seen you continuously doing it and succeeding. So I wanted to put you back on the show so we can share some of this information with
Right.
with my audience here.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 hour a day, that seems very doable. Um, so do you think this will work for every practice area? Family law, personal injury, estate planning, I don't know, tax.
Yeah, honestly. And the reason
Okay.
is looking at where are the different places that someone comes in and understanding it's kind of like the strategy is you got to know what's next. So once
Okay.
someone has an estate plan, what's next? Once they have that, once they have the trusts build up, what's next? Right. And have you empowered them to bring in other people? So it is very much this human experience side of things. And yes, does it take effort to put into place? Absolutely. But then once it starts getting activated, the ROI in terms of the time, I guess the ROT, if you will, generates a big ROI because it has that ability. We all know the value of that referral, that handoff, that warm handoff is so easy to close. And so if we've got more of those people in the community and we're not necessarily forcing them to buy this second, but because we've continued to be relevant and top of mind, when that person becomes ready to buy, the logical choice is going to be the person that's been driving value.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
And that money objection won't be there because they're already going to be indoctrinated. They're already going to understand the value. And that's a lot of what I see lawyers not effectively communicating is it's beyond just, I'll help you get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I'll help you get divorced without the stress, right? Like what is the real value that you're actually doing? And the problem is you're not supposed to know how to do this. You're a great lawyer. Do what you do and let other people who are great at what they do what they do. So it's why lawyers aren't great marketers. They're not meant to be. They didn't get into this to be marketing and sales experts. A lot of them have had to adapt and develop. But I love saying the good news is I am. Yeah. That's what I do is I market and sell.
That's a good thing. That's good. That's awesome. So let me ask you something. So a sole practitioner or someone who's just starting, they can easily just hop on a call with you and you get them started on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's all different levels of mechanisms to engage with me. Like there are people who they're at that place where they've got to learn how to start doing it for themselves first, right? You got to fish and you got to eat. You got to, what is it? You got to kill what you eat. You eat what you kill. Kind of situation. It's a little more aggressive than I'd like to talk, and then it's really looking at where's the scalability and the leverageability in what the process has produced, because it's not about, hey, we got these results, but turning around and being like, I have no clue how they happened. I know one of the things that, for example, you do is you provide reports and metrics so that people can understand how these results were generated so that they can make those better investment decisions. But a lot of people go through and work with experts like you, and they have no clue how anything happened. And it's just kind of like, it's a little nerve-wracking because there's no sense of control. However, if we give that sense of control back to people in their business, then we can look at how to leverage and scale that so that we can get to the level that they want. So the answer isn't you have to have 50 people and 50 paralegals on your team or anything like that. You can absolutely be a boutique business owner, but you can't do everything yourself. And so looking at where do we generate that revenue to create that time freedom that we all went into business to create.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. You said something that touched on a pet peeve of mine. A lot of my clients are the smaller firms, they're not the huge $100 million firm. So a lot of them are always in court and so and so. So when we have our quarterly meetings or whatever, a lot of times they cancel. They said, just keep the phone ringing. I'm good. I'm busy. I got to go to court, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. It's a very frustrating thing because I'm only getting half of the story when I send them the reports.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those they're converting. So I want to know, selfishly, I want to toot my own horn and say, hey, I just got you, 50% revenue increase there, but I can't do that if they don't show up for the calls. So, I mean, I'm assuming you get the same issue. Do you get the same issues on your side when you have clients that don't show up for meetings?
No, they show up for meetings. I make it a requirement, and I won't give them deliverables unless they show up. But part of it is a lot of the power is what they already have in their hands, right? So they're not dependent on me, because my process focuses on them doing the work and implementing it or having their team do it. But I can imagine long term having, I mean, because and the reason that it's happening, I know this for a fact, the reason that it's happening to you is because you create such consistent success that it's almost it's an insult and a compliment in the terms of they just trust you, because they know that whatever you decide or whatever you strategically are going to modify is going to produce results. And then the insulting side is they're not bothering taking the time to meet up with you, which if they did, could actually produce greater results for them.
Better results, yeah. Because
Right.
if they're saying they're closing the leads from online, say at a 10%,
Right.
maybe from some tweaks and some ads that I can do, you
Right.
can increase to 15, 20,
And what
percent
does that do in
and
terms of the
more.
numbers? Because
Right.
all of that is very compounded in terms of results.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is that catch 22 of, yeah, you're really good at what you do. And if they would invest a little bit of time, you could even be greater.
Yeah. I remember this was a long time ago, and it doesn't happen as often as I would like. I had a client of mine who he was a family law attorney, actually down by your area, that closed one particular deal that was worth $100K. Can you imagine a divorce costing $100K?
I've heard of
That's
multiple stories.
That's how that was. I mean, at the end, not from day one. I mean, he retained them, I think, at 3,500, but then it just kept. But it was 100K. That was like, man, I need more stories like this. And that's the reason why I like to have these meetings, because I want to hear, what are you retaining for? How many closes are you getting? But I work on that. Cool beans. Now let me ask you this. How do you generate the business? Like, for instance, okay, I get the whole relationship, organic and all that, but you got to have something to build a relationship with. How does that happen?
So I use my process. So what I've done and what lawyers can do as well is I've created an ecosystem of knowing what's next. Mm-hmm. So I have firework experiences. Speaking is one of them. Podcasting is another. And then it's what's next, right? What makes logical sense? And so if there are people, for example, there are lawyers out there looking to be on more podcasts. And so something like my podcast mixer, which is complimentary, which I host every month on the second Friday of the month at 12 p.m. Eastern. You guys see how I'm seating this? And it's right. So that makes sense for that person who's like, look, I'm a lawyer. I have a message I want to get out there in a bigger way. I'm looking to speak in front of corporate audiences, or I'm looking to I focus a lot on entrepreneurs. So I want to speak into an entrepreneurial audience. I have those people in my community. And so what I've done is I've created a gift. So if you are a lawyer who is a speaker or a podcaster or leveraging visibility as an approach to building your client base, right, then this is something that would be a great fit. However, if you're saying, hey, yeah, I really want to know more about what firework experience might be right for me, then I have a workshop that I host, right? And so part of that is getting that invitation from me and getting on my list. And so just looking at what makes logical sense as to the next gift that I can offer someone in support of solving that problem that makes that person a better buyer. And that better buyer may be that lawyer maybe is never a great fit for me. But the likelihood of a lawyer knowing another lawyer that uses visibility as a strategic approach in their business is pretty high. And if they had a great experience at my podcast mixer, I'm very confident that they're going to extend that invitation to someone else. And that's what I call the Triple Crown effect. I'm winning because I've got people doing lead generation for me. Mm-hmm. The initial lawyer is winning because they're getting connections in the community to increase their visibility and expand their network. And then then that lawyer who extends it to the next person, that next person wins because they get access to a community they would have never known about, and in turn get a good experience, and in turn get those connections. So we want to create these synergistic wins, right? The triple crown effect, where everybody is winning. And it's not just about me getting my next client. It is about the community and their experience, while I still stand in an authoritative and expert position within that community as its leader.
Love it. Love it. That is what is called value-based marketing.
Yeah.
Love it, Kat. I mean, that's genius. I bow to you, my friend. That's awesome how you do that. I love it. I love it. I mean, it's so funny because I am such a person that goes about, hey, I want leads. I just feed the meter and then leads come in. But Kat's all about value-based marketing, bringing the people, provide value to them, and eventually it comes right back to her. That is excellent, excellent, excellent. I am having
when you do high ticket sales. Yeah.
Especially when you do high ticket sales. There you go. There's a hint. To work with Kat is a high ticket. Just letting you know. Anyway, yeah, Kat is she's the real deal. All right. So, I'm having a great time here, Kat. But I know you're a very busy person, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to ask you one last question that I've asked every single one of my interviewers or visitors.
The guests, yeah.
All my guests. There you go. My words are slurring here.
We complete each other in this way.
Thank you.
We're gonna get paid, right? Yin and yang.
There you go. There you go. What is your take on the AI revolution?
I think it's fantastic. And I think that people don't understand, and they underestimate the value of the human being. That we have constantly gone through iterations of jobs getting lost due to advances in technology. But with that, other jobs have become available. So online marketers were not a thing, right? Back in 1990, essentially in 1980s, it wasn't a job. Yep. Look at how much revenue has been generated now because of the internet. The internet was going to kill everything. And then this was going to kill everything. So I'm always very weary of these very extremist statements when people go and, expand. What I've seen is that AI is not ready. It can help people get into creative modes and support them. But at the end of the day, unique thought and creativity cannot be created other than with the human mind. And so there is empathy and connection that only a human can sometimes see in terms of pattern. And so it really taps into, instead of looking at how it's taking over, we really need to look at how we as humans are different and what is the value that we can bring, leveraging technology, because it's not going anywhere. It's here. Right. So wishing it away isn't going to do anything positive. And so it's how do we integrate with this and leverage it effectively? And again, a new opportunity for us to reposition ourselves, because this trend happens at least every 5 to 10 years. Something new comes along and you have to relook at your system and your process and your approach and see how you can, again, stand out. It's also huge opportunities for you to leapfrog competition. So if you're resisting things, usually that's where the biggest revenue opportunity is. So I'm not resisting it. I'm seeing where I can use it and leverage it as part of my business, because I will be able to leapfrog competition using this.
Yeah. It's an interesting take on AI. It's a different, I love to ask that question because everyone has a different opinion. Yeah, but I agree. I don't think it's ready yet. No. Yet is the operative word.
Yes.
I think it's getting very, very good. It's, I saw an image of Morgan Freeman. It looked, I had to take a double take.
Yeah.
And it, because it was a little robotic how he was talking. And that's what gave me the clue.
It's
that
scary. I mean, just like anything
yeah.
in life, it can be
Yeah.
manipulated and used for evil and corruption.
Mm-hmm.
But that also means that now we're going to have people who are developing code to spot fake AI stuff, right? So there's that
Yeah.
whole engineering opportunity. That's a whole slew of jobs that are going to be created in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Google has this whole thing where it, like if you write a blog post, you can actually, it has a detector to know
Right.
if it was AI
Well, and a lot of
developed,
AI is
and they won't index it.
plagiarizing. Yeah.
Yeah, they won't index it because it was created by a bot. Now, the trick to that is take whatever AI gives you and kind of repurpose it or redo it.
Add your
Add
personality back
your
onto it.
personality
Yeah.
to it, and then once you've done that, then
Well,
Google
I
will
think of it as
accept
a
it.
cake, right? Which
Right.
is AI will produce the same vanilla cake over and over and over again. But humans can come in and it's what's the frosting color? What's the flavor? What are the decorative accents, that you can put on there? And that's, personality, that's branding and all of that. So at the end of the day, like there's so many people who do what you do and who do what I do. So how do we stand out? It's our presence, it's our beingness, it's the value that we provide in terms of marketers. And so that's the opportunity to increase your market share is to one, you have to get more people knowing that you exist. Right. And so how do you do that? And then continue to remind them that you exist.
So I'm going to disagree with something you just said there. I agree that there's a lot of people that do what I do. Very few people do what you do, though. I got to tell you, very few people do what you do. Not the way you do it.
Not the way that I do it. But if I were to like vanilla it down to like a base cake, right? And just say, I help you generate leads online, right? Like
that,
right?
But not your process. No,
my process is very unique.
This is
very
a
different.
very unique thing, which is why you're on this show. I want to expose that to as many people as possible. Speaking of, what's the website that you have?
So it's actionincubator.com. I'm actually really excited because I'm going through a complete overhaul right now. And I just did, branding pictures and all that. So I'm very, very excited about that finally coming out. And then the one that I shared in terms of the mixer, if that's something that's interesting for anyone who's listening, you can reserve your spot. It's complimentary again, every second Friday of the month at 12 p.m. Eastern. And you can find it at leadbossmixer.com.
Okay. So actionincubator.com and leadbossmixer.com.
Yep.
And since you and I are connected on LinkedIn, what I'm going to do in the show notes, I'm going to share those two links in the show notes, but I'm also going to share your LinkedIn. So in case someone has any direct questions, they can go on to your LinkedIn, shoot you an inbox. She doesn't mind inboxes because that's how she makes a living. Right. So,
well, and make sure you let me know that you heard me here with Frank, because then I'm going to give him some kudos.
Yeah. Please do. But before I let you go, though, Kat, is there anything I did not ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Which one should you pick first, or which one should you pick between in terms of paid ads and organic?
I didn't want to go there because I said I was going to keep the gloves on, but go ahead. You can go ahead and do it.
So my answer is, it is, especially when we're talking about lawyers, right?
Yes.
I actually do believe it's a chicken and egg situation. I don't think it's an either or. I really think it's an and. I think that someone who's brand new and really just trying to figure themselves out, starting with organic makes sense because you have to have a message and you have to have something to drive them to. But lawyers, because it is already an established need, right? Like if you're a divorce lawyer, it's pretty clear what you're providing in terms of service, right? If you're an estate planner, it's pretty clear what you can put paid search around. And so I really do think it's an and situation, and that together they really amplify and feed each other, because paid can lead to organic and organic can lead back to paid. And they kind of build on each other to really create a much stronger revenue pipeline.
Okay. So the answer to that question is both.
Yeah.
I like it. And that's awesome, because I agree. You got to do both. If you want to dominate any network, any local area, or even globally, you have to do both paid and organic. And there are no two people on this planet better at doing both than Kat Stanzik and Frank Deming. So I think that's a mic drop for this episode. I want to thank you, Kat, for joining once again. And if we can, and if there's any questions that develop as a result of this, I will definitely let you know so you can actually answer them directly. That's it for now. So until next week, folks, this has been Frank Deming, the local business guy, and you've just been blessed by the great Kat Stanzik. Take care, everyone. Until next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Law Firms, the podcast that provides you with all the latest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you would like to know more about the topic we discussed on the show today, reach out to Frank and his team at 888-416-7752 and schedule a discovery call with one of the marketing consultants. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, send an email to podcast@lbmsllc.com and we will put you on the schedule. With that being said, until next week, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.